This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by Productivity Authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Accelerator. Now, today I wanted to jump on here and share some of my tips around how you guys can scale your business through partnerships. So for you guys that are listening in, by the way, we're doing a live show. Use the hashtag live or use the hashtag replay. That'd be super awesome. I'm going to put that just here. And if you can you do me a favor as well, regardless of if you're listening to me live or listen to the replay, please PLC, post, like, or comment on the comment section below. That'd be super awesome. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, okay, we'll put all the show notes below and any relevancy as well. So listen, I want to jump in here because I wanted to really kind of share my tips and strategy around partnerships, because partnerships are a great tool or great asset to be able to scale your businesses. One thing that I've learned, especially working with a lot of businesses and business leaders and entrepreneurs, one thing that I've learned, ladies and gents, is that most of you guys are not using it enough. You're just not using it enough, which really surprises me, because there's some just wonderful opportunities that you can do to get new access to new markets, to really be able to piggyback off of somebody else's brand as well. So I'm going to give you 5 top tips about how you can go about using partnerships and what you need to look at the ideal partnership relationship, especially if you're looking to scale up. So tip number 1 is, when you're looking for your ideal partner, I want you to think about, what are their core values? What is it that you like about them or love about them? Why do you think that what's their core values, and how do their core values match to your core values? There has to be a core relationship, because if their core values are completely misaligned to your core values, the relationship's just not going to work. Communication's going to break down, personality clashes, and so forth. So you've got to really do your research on understanding their core values. And it might be someone that you've known for quite some time, or it might be someone that, has just popped into your head, or you've seen on a podcast, or whatever it is. But thinking about, what are their core values and what's important to them? All right, so that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, what is the purpose of the partnership? Okay, now this is really important, because if you don't understand the purpose of the reasons why you're reaching out to the person in the first place, and the reasons why you want to leverage partnerships, then it's not going to work. So what is the win-win situation that you're going to create if you go into a partnership with somebody? Okay, now, partnerships are very different from affiliates. There are a form of partnerships, but there are partnerships come in many different forms. Now, what I'm talking about more specifically is a business collaboration. Okay, so a business collaboration, and that could be like you're working jointly on a project, or you've got an idea, or whatever it is, but it comes in many different forms. All right, so that is tip number 2, which is understanding the purpose or the win-win situation of the partnership. Tip number 3 is, why then? Right? So what's the reasons why you believe that the partnership is, could really work? Is it their authority? Is it their credibility that attracts them to you? Is it the fact that they have access to your key target market? And I think this is really important, because and one thing that when I speak to people that approach me with numerous pitches, by the way, one thing that I ask about them is, why me? Like, what's the reason why you would like to go into business with me? And that's one question that you will be asked, and you need to have that in the back of your mind. So to preempt questions that are going to come up with that and be armed with a response is so crucially important. So crucially important. So that's tip number 3 is why them? What's their authority? Is it their authority? Is it their credibility? Is it the way they show up? Is it their authenticity? Is it they have access to your market? I want you to really think about that in a really deeper scale, okay? Because they will ask you and it will be at the back of their mind, all right? Now, one of the things that comes to my mind is when people reach out to me is the first thing that I pre-assume, and don't ever pre-assume, by the way, but sometimes I pre-assume that they just want access to my network because I have a rich network and I'm very well connected and so forth. But without trying to explore and understand that, thinking about why then, okay? So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, how well do you know them? So I've been following people for years, and as you begin to become more aware of what they're about in terms of their core values, what do they offer, how do they show up, how do they build trust with their audience, what content they create. So you may know them from, from months or years following that individual, okay? Or it might be that you've created a list of potential partners that you've identified, okay? And you need to do a due diligence. So it's how well do you know them, right? What's important to them? So is it that charity is important to them? Is it the fact that they're a big lover of cats? I don't know. Do they enjoy going out or dining out? So thinking about how well do you know them? Really understanding what makes them tick, what gets them motivated, what drives them. Okay, so that's going to be really important because again, you're going to be able to, when you understand that, you're going to be able to understand where the hooks, where the opportunities lie, and you'll be able to really kind of uncover that. So I hope that kind of helps. Now, tip number 5, my last tip of the day, which is what is the opportunity or idea? So when I say what is the opportunity or idea, what I mean by that is when it comes to businesses, when it comes to business partnerships, right? What's the not just the reason why you want to create the partnership, but what do you have in the back of your mind? Is it the fact that you want to do something jointly together? Could it be an activity? Could it be, I don't know, are you offering them a speaking slot? Is it the fact that you want to do a joint event with them? Is it the fact that you want to launch a piece of software with them or a product or whatever it might be? But what is the big idea? What is the opportunity that you see in terms of being able to give value to their audience, okay, but also to give value to your audience too? I think that's really crucially important, is to make sure that you've got this angle where there is a real core value to their audience, their members, their network, or whatever it might be. Okay, so really to understand that, what is the big idea, what is the big opportunity that you have in your back of your mind, and also the other thing around that is it trendy? So what I mean by that is, for example, what are the things that are going on in the world right now? Okay, which there's a lot of talk. So at the moment, there's a lot of talk of, increased costs and inflation and stuff like that. Is this something that you could do to help alleviate some of the pains and problems that your clients are experiencing right now? Okay, is it the fact you could create, a piece of software that's going to help reduce their costs? Is it the fact that you can help their members with something, right? And whatever it is that they, again, depending on what the angle is, what the hook is. And it might not necessarily go anywhere, but what you have to have in the back of your mind is exactly what is that opportunity? Where are the opportunities? And the other thing, and I want to offer an extra tip here as well, is thinking about your approach. So I get pitched on a daily basis with people that want to come on my podcast, people that want to do business with me and things like that. Now, I'm also very blunt and straight to the point, okay? So what do you want? How can I help you? And why me, right? So it's really kind of having, preempted objections and getting into the psychological element of the understanding of the other person, right? What's going through their mind, okay? And how could you preempt the objections of the other person and say, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh no, it's one of those guys that I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that you're going to pitch me and you just want access to my market. I know what you're thinking, but this is what I found, or however, this is how I work, right? So again, really kind of preempting objections, which I think is really crucially important when it comes to business partnerships. Anyway, listen, I hope these tips were particularly useful, especially when it comes to partnerships. And for you guys that are listening in to the live or the replay, use hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you guys are listening to the podcast and you've enjoyed this experience particularly, please do me a favor. Go onto Apple or Spotify, give us a 1 or a 5-star review, whichever it is. I'm not going to be offended. I would be greatly appreciated to hear from you guys. And what I was going to say to you, also, there is a link to the business growth scorecard. So the business growth quiz, okay? So if you're looking to scale right now, if you're looking to grow your business and scale, okay, partnerships are a great vehicle to be able to do that. The business growth quiz can be able to help you to identify certain areas of the business, opportunities for growth, opportunities for improvement, and be able to give you some tips and be able to give you some a framework to be able to give you how to make those fine improvements. So the link is below. If you have any questions, feel free to do so. And for you, just as an extra tip as well, if you haven't already done so, by the way, do join us over on Telegram. I've got a great Telegram group, which is growing, and growing a great tribal community over in there. And I post loads of stuff about my events, strategy, leadership tips, business growth, podcasting, all of that kind of jazz. I'd love to see you guys on there. The link is below, of course, and hopefully we'll see you there. Listen, enough from me. Hopefully we'll see you again back here on the Business Accelerator, and speak to you soon. Take care. Cheers.